Right, so here's another tavern. I like that tavern a lot, actually. It's a pretty cool looking little building. Right, welcome back to another episode of Banished with your host Midnight, and we are still looking at the Colonial Charter mod. We're exploring it. We last time we worked on the resource production, and actually when I put down I was told that I forgot to put down this logging barge. Let's put that down. I might need that stuff for the key. Let's put it over here. I think that's probably a better area for it. I put down this logging barge over here. See if I can get this to fit in over here somewhere. Maybe over here. Yeah, a little tough with these turkeys. Look at that, just one pixel off on both sides. That's rude. How about over here? Same problem. Turkey. Wow. Gonna be able to get it over here? Man, this is frustrating. Okay, let's try up over here. Probably fit in right here. There we go. Excellent. Okay, let's look at that really quick. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Any variation on that? No variation on that. Okay, so I put down that, and it's nice. It has like a little key docked area, which is cool. Which it blend right into the key buildings. Okay. And then the other thing is that I was talking about the fruit trees, and that the fruit trees didn't provide anything. That's actually wrong. I was told by, I believe, Double E Show and a couple other people that if you put down the gatherer around that area, they will actually gather up that fruit. So that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. So let's start putting down some of these other buildings. I'll take a quick peek at these. This is the tailor's. There's no variation on that building. And the tailor makes clothing. And then there's a couple variations on the size buildings. I think this is more related to speed. Advanced, it says it's advanced clothing. Makes warm clothing, advanced clothing, and let's see. Seems to be about the same. Maybe they make pretty much the same thing. I'd have to look at them after we put them down. Let's put down this tailor's. There's no variation on these houses, but they might be upgradable. Let's take a quick peek. Yeah, this can upgrade. Let's put this down. Let's put another one down. And see what this upgrades to. Maybe we can get some people to work on upgrading this. And how about this? A no upgrade and no upgrade on that one. Okay, so let's go back to the Weavers. This is the Weavers building. And no variation on the Weaver building. Let's... no upgrade either. Okay, so let's take a quick peek. So hide coats, wool, survival, full dress, a full coat and dress coat. And same, it does the same up to here, but then it does advance, like a petticoat. A petticoat? Is that how you say that? Petticoat? Or peacoat? I think it's petticoat, probably. Full livery, frock cloak, coat. Full suit. Interesting. Too bad people can't actually wear these things. Let's see if this one... Okay, so, you know, different stuff. This is kind of interesting that it takes silver fittings and gilders to make some of these items. And this is more... It actually creates linen, cloth, and silk, which can then turn around and be used in some of these production for the seamstress and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Fiber mill's probably very similar. Needs to be on the water. I can probably put it up here. Right, it makes linens and rugs. Very similar to the Weaver. Probably does it faster. Does it say it does it faster? Faster way, yep. Ropier. Somebody who makes rope. No variation on that building. Let's just bring him down right here. And so they're going to make rope out of hemp, flax, and reeds. And let's see, we have a bed maker. Is there any variation on this building? No, no variation on this building. And this guy's going to take bedding. He's going to make bedding out of various items. So mainly cloth and linen, and then cotton, wool, and feathers to make the bedding. And then finally, we have a tannery. And they're going to make cured leather from leather, water, and salt. Okay, very cool. Very cool. I don't think anybody has come to... What speed am I running? Oh, let's run at 10 times speed. We've got some sickness. I think we had some doctors. Didn't we have any doctors? Maybe we had some doctors. Maybe people were going to get cured. I don't know. Who knows? Doesn't really matter. We have somebody upgrading this. So we get to see the upgrade of that. Let's, we have enough builders, so that's fine. Okay, let's go back to... Let's look at some of the other items, which we're going to start looking at. And if I forgot to tell you, this is refined resources. So we're going to look at the crafting and artisans. And this is the gem cutters. Gem cutters are making what? Polished gems, which we can get out of the mine. Statue carvers. No variation on these buildings so far. Now, statue carvers are going to create statues, which I'm assuming we could probably use to place somewhere and or sell. A candlery? I don't know how to pronounce that. Hopefully I did well. If not, oh well. I make candles out of beeswax, whale blubber, or tallow. Not too sure what tallow is coming from. Probably a product of something. A potter. I'm making pottery. We have a joiner who is going to make furniture and fancy furniture out of logs and or hardwood. Which is nice. And we have a cooper. A cooper is somebody who makes barrels. And crates, barrels, and casks. Great. Alright, let's look at the next line, which is lumber and construction. So we have a saw pit, which is your standard, like, tiny little saw pit deal here. We're gonna get lumber out of that only. And the lumber yard itself is probably going to give me firewood. Does this give me lumber? Yeah, it gives me lumber from logs. Very cool. This is going to give me lumber from hardwood, logs, and firewood as well. So I can also have somebody working on both of those. We have some variation in the log, in the, what do you call this? The sawmill. Let's put down those variations here. Just, it looks like colors. 2 different color variations. And we're getting the same as we're getting out of the lumber yard. Probably the difference is speed, right? 3 cutters and allows for 3 cutters. Very fast speed. We'll use available wood logs quickly. Okay, so this is a little bit slower. This is slowest. The small one is the slowest, slower, and fast. Or slower, slow, and fast. Let's see. Let's come back in here. We also have a... This is a water wheel to produce logs. Can we get that in here? Probably along here somewhere. Okay. And we're going to get same lumber and firewood out of this one. Does it say what the max number of people is on that one? 3 cutters. Okay. We have a shipyard. We're going to produce some ships. I believe that part goes in the water. If I'm correct. Just a little part in the very front of that goes in. And this will create whole components for creating a ship, which is... where's the guy to create a ship? We'll find him later. Okay, so the brick works. We're going to create... This is going to create bricks. Let's rotate that around, get a quick peek at that. I don't think there's a variation on that building. And it doesn't upgrade, but we get bricks, charcoal, and coke fuel out of that. Glass works. It's going to create our glass. There's no variation on the building. And we're going to get glass from various items. and glasswares from various items. We have a home supplier. Is any variations on this building? No. Home supplier is going to be homewares and fancy homewares. Is that correct? Yep, from various items, right? So we're going to create, you know, you can create pottery and furniture, and that's going to create homewares. So you get fancy, and pewter and silver is going to get fancy homewares, and that's going to allow you to build some of the more advanced buildings. And then finally, a building supplier. That was a bird that just hit my window. Freaked me out. Hope that bird's okay, because he just smacked it really good. Alright, and the building supplier is creating building supplies from various items, right? So here's a great, there's the nomads coming in. Here's a great example of you're taking these refined resources, a lot of these different refined resources to produce items, and a great example is the building supplies. I'm going to need 1 joist, 5 stones, I'm going to need some glass and some iron, I'm going to need various things to create building supplies, and building supplies is some of the things you're going to need to be able to create some of these advanced buildings. And I'm sorry about the piano sound in the background, my sons are doing piano. We have the blacksmith's buildings, and that's just the basic blacksmith, the rough tools and iron tools. We have the city blacksmith building, which has a little bit of variation. We'll put the variations down side by side. And we're going to get steel tools and musket. And let's see here. Small iron smelter, which I'm making the assumption that the small iron smelter is just going to smelt different, just iron with furnace fuel. Melting house. Okay, so the melting house is what I'm thinking. It's going to melt gold and copper and stuff. Okay, silver fennings and gold gilders. Interesting. In the melting house. Alright, so that's what's going to produce my money for me. Furnace fuel, and I just need gold and silver to come out of that. Which I can turn around and get at one of these... where's the mine that I put down? One of these gold mines. One of these... I think it was this one too, right? So I can get any number of these items out of here. Let's come back over here. And we just put down the melting house. This is a metalsmith. I have a feeling that this is where the rest of my metal is coming in. No, canteens, copper pipes, tinwares, copperware, pewterware, silverware. Okay, well that's cool because that's needed for some of the fancy homewares. A forge, which I believe I'm going to get my joists and stuff out of. I get silver, I get copper, I get tin, I also get joists. Cannonballs and different types of statues. That's pretty cool. That was my forge. And a foundry. Oh, foundry needs to be on water, which I think is just another very similar to the forge. It can produce the same amount of items. I think the difference is maybe speed. Is that correct? Slightly more efficient than the forge. Okay. Slightly more efficient. So it's not a huge change. We have a standard woodcutter, which we've seen the woodcutter around before. I'm going to put the woodcutter up here with the other wood guy. No variation on the building, and I don't think he upgrades either. So he's going to create firewood. We have a chopper, which is kind of like a mini version of the woodcutter. A bundling shed, and a bundling shed is going to make, let's see, stuff that can be used in furnace fuel? Yeah, the bundling fire bundle, which is made from various items, but can be used as part of the I'll get back to that thought. The stack burners creating charcoal or coke fuel. Coke fuel, which is more efficient than firewood or coal. And then the fuel refinery is actually, it's going to use various things, but it's going to create furnace fuel from various items, but you would probably want to use the fire bundles to create the furnace fuel. You could probably also use coke, coal, charcoal, any one of these items. From my understanding, the most efficient is coke to create furnace fuel. And then there's also a small fuel refinery, which I don't think there's any variation on that one. And that's also doing the same thing. I think the difference between the two is just greater efficiency, right? Let's see. Maybe not. Only one worker. So this one can take multiple workers, right? 2, 3, up to 3 workers. Okay, but this one can only take 1 worker. 1 worker? Right. Only 1 worker as an upgrade. All right. Well, I think that we got completely through the refined resources. So that's, you know, in conjunction with all of this other stuff, right? You're going to get a bunch of raw goods, but in conjunction with all the raw goods, you're going to convert the raw goods into usable items. And the usable items that can not only be used as independent pieces when you're looking at building the more advanced housings. I believe, you know, when you're getting into some of these houses, you're going to need the fancy homewares and the furnace, the fancy homewares, right? Fancy homewares and the building supplies. And so you're going to have to build all those items inside of these production chains. Use all those raw resources and build them using these buildings. And to get those finalized products as finished products, but then you could then turn around and build the more advanced buildings out of, which is great. And then if you're totally done, you can wind up selling those off to using your trade to sell those to get different items that you might need, food or whatever the case might be. So next time I think we're gonna get into some of the, you know what, actually, what's how much? 16 minutes. Let's put down really quickly. Put down these luxury production, which is not a lot of items here. So let's put that down. We have several different taverns. They don't have variations on them. They don't upgrade, but this tavern provides storage, and then your people go to the stores and they drink. So it's alcohol or pipe tobacco, that type of stuff goes into the storage, and then people actually go there and start using it. And there's several different variations of this place where people congregate for social merriment of all types, right? So here's another tavern. I like that tavern a lot, actually. It's a pretty cool looking little building. And we have the local, just another kind of little tavern area. This is called Inn and Garden. This one's really nice. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty neat. And then we see a coffee house. Let's rotate the coffee house around. Coffee house, you know, not if you really had a choice, I would choose the Inn and Garden, or this other one. The local looks really nice. This one too. This one just looks like every other building in town. But maybe if you're trying to stick with something, some sort of theme. Though it is a coffee house, it brews coffee from coffee beans. That's another way you can consume some of your raw resources. This is the brewery. I believe the brewery produces, different ale and mead from various items, which is what you're going to do to produce your grain and alcohol to some of the taverns. Not grain and alcohol, but your alcohol in some of the taverns. Here's a winery, which is going to produce wine from various items, which again goes to the taverns. A distillery, which is hard spirits. I like the look of that building. Yep, Applejack and vodka and whiskey. Beautiful. Again, people are going to consume those items. We have a churning barn, which is tobacco, right? Tobacco, sure. Going to take the raw resource of tobacco, dry it out into pipe. And the pub kitchen. This is like a little kitchen. Phil's canteens, pub meal, interesting. If anybody knows what the pub meal is, other than the fact of, is that a replacement for food? That's kind of interesting how that all works. And what is the difference quality-wise? Is it better than just eating like a regular food item? Or is it just a different variation? Okay, that was it. That was the luxury items and the refined resources, and I wanted to go through that with you. Next, we're going to go into some pretty huge areas, which we're getting into the key and the castle related stuff. I don't know if I'm going to be able to knock all of this out in one episode, but maybe we can. Some of it's pretty unique here. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to try to see if I can get some of these buildings in place all at once. I might have to break that into different segments. Ooh, that's the old castle. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining me. Put a like if you liked the series. Leave comments in the comments section below. Share your knowledge. We would really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Please remember to hit that like button if you liked the video and subscribe to our channel so you can stay on top of all of our latest video releases. I release content almost every day. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.